Dear friends, welcome back to Automate with Rakesh. In this video, we are going to learn how do you create automated random test data. Random test data generation. Is it possible in UiPath? If so, how to do it? Before you learn how to do it, let us understand why you need random test data. Definitely, you need test data to test an application on different data scenarios. If you provide this kind of a age, will the loan get approved? If somebody is asking so many thousands of rupees, is your bank is going to approve that loan? So there's a limit to everything, and that has to be tested through the data, whether your application is showing the right information to the user or it's simply allowing him. Correct? So that is why you test a software. Now, why you need random test data? The real problem is in collecting and testing data for exception scenarios. Exception means, for example, a person whose age is 16 years. He is applying your loan. Will you approve the loan for a 16-year age as per is it under the legal age limit? Right? So exception scenario. So your application should not approve it. It should say, sorry, you do not meet the age criteria, something like that. So this exception scenarios, rarely encountered scenarios during software testing has to be tested by the testers. Now there is a challenge. Testing team often encounter privacy requirements. What is that privacy requirement? You must have heard about GDPR, including GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. If I have shared my data to a company, that doesn't mean he publicizes my data everywhere. My address, my phone number, who is my wife, who is my father name, all these data are very much private to you. So every company do follow certain data protection regulation. GDPR is one of them globally used, General Data Protection Regulation. And there is also something called PCI, Payment Card Industries. They also have their data security standard. There's a compliance they have to follow, right? So because of this, you cannot pick some data from the production and start using it for your test. Not possible. You can't do it. Hence, using the real production data is not recommended. You should not do it. It is not recommended to directly pick some real data from the production environment and start using it for testing. That is not recommended. Now, in this case, the latest trend is to generate some synthetic test data. Synthetic test data. There is no real person like that. There is no real number like that. There is no real, age like that. There is something randomly you are generating from the computer. So these are called, the latest trend is to generate synthetic data. That's why you need random test data generation and you need to learn how this can be done in UiPath. Clear? So why delay? Let's move on to UiPath Studio. And don't miss out to subscribe to my channel. Go to my channel homepage and click on the subscribe button beside the logo. And also you can click on the inverted triangle and click on this notification icons to stay updated. Before we generate synthetic test data for an application, we must understand the application a little bit. This is the UI Bank application and this is the loan application form which we open from here. In this loan application form, it requires certain data. For example, email, how much loan amount you need, loan term, current yearly income and age. So this is the synthetic data I would like to produce using, or I would like to generate using UiPath. So how this will be done, let me first show you. Now for this, let's go back to UiPath Studio. In this, the default package you might find in your workflow is known as UiPath testing activities. UiPath.testing.activities. In case you don't have this activity in your workflow or in your project, go to manage packages, go to all packages, and let me show you the activity. So here you simply type UiPath testing activities. So this is the package by default you will be having if you are using a recent edition of your UiPath Studio. If not, if it is not available for any reason, please install it. Alright, so once you have these activities installed, UiPath.testing.activities, All you do, go to activities panel and here simply type testing. When you type testing, there are three different categories of activities. One is data category, test data queues, and verification activities. More or less, we have seen the couple of activities from the verification. Now, to create synthetic test data or to generate synthetic test data, all you have to do, click on data, and here are the activities using which we can create some synthetic test data. For example, I want to create some random addresses. I can use this. Let's say I want to create some first name, last name, or let's say I want to create an email address. Okay, combination, using the combination of this, we can create also a email address. How to create a, for example, random date, some random number. A lot of things can be done using these activities. Very important to note. Now, let us really fulfill the challenge here. For this application, I need some test data. How will I do it? Let's focus on our requirements. What is the very first requirement? Let us first write it on a notepad. The very first requirement is loan email. I have to generate some email. What is the second requirement? Loan amount. Loan amount. Now remember amount. If somebody is asking for 1 rupee as a loan, will you really entertain that kind of request? No. So you have a lower limit, you have an upper limit. If somebody is asking, give me $200 billion, will you really approve that kind of a loan request? No. Because you have a limit. As a bank, you have a limit set, minimum limit and maximum limit. Let's say here the minimum limit is, let's say minimum is $5,000 and the max limit is, let's say, this is sample data, okay, $100,000. Okay, now the next thing this application requires is a loan term. Term means it could be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. So you can also, 1, 3, 5, 10. Okay, loan term. What is your loan term? Now this one has a limitation here. It could be 1 or 3 or 5 or 10. So how do you generate this? It could be only 1 or it should be only 3 or it should be 5 or 10. There is nothing in between. You can't have a 2 or 3. So how to generate that? That also we will see. So this is the loan term. Loan term which will have values like what? 1, 3, 5, 10. These are the only values. 1, 3, 5, 10. The next thing is current yearly income, your loan income. So write it as one word because we'll be using this as variables. What is the next one? Loan income. What is his income? His yearly income. Okay, so this should also be in a range. A person earning certain limit, upper and lower limit you have. So here the minimum value, let's say the person should be at least earning $10,000, for example. Max, let's say somebody should be earning, max is, it could be anything, but again, let's say they will come under a VIP category, let's say. So I'm putting a max as let's say $60,000. Okay, that's the loan income limit. Now let's say I need a age. So the age, so you have a criteria. A person of 1 year age won't come to your application. 2 year age won't come. 5 years old may not be coming. So you have what should be a limit. A person of 12 years, 13 years might come. So you have a, let's say, limit, minimum age limit is, let's say, 10. Just for testing purpose. Okay, if somebody with the age 10 applying, you will reject it. Pretty simple. It will be rejected, no doubt. But I'm giving a limit. So the age limit max is, let's say, 100. Okay, I don't know if a person of age 100 would come and even apply that. This is giving certain limit for synthetic data generation. Okay, so these are the limits. Now let's see how all of this can be created. Let's focus on the email first. Let's go to the studio, and to create the email, the very first thing I will drag and drop the given name. Now if you highlight on given name, it will tell you this given name activity is used provide a random first name. Now you will say how it is getting that random first name. That is a question that will appear in your mind. If so, simply hit on help. I'll show you certain important points. Okay, so how this works, look at this. If you read this sentence, you will get it. selects a random value from a list of common given names. So there is a list of names which has already been given to the activity in the backend. So it will pull some random names from that. The list is included as part of the activity. Getting it? So from that list, it will pull some name and give it to you. Okay, so this is called selects a random value. Now what I will do, let us create a variable here. Okay, so what is the variable? Let us create a variable saying first name. Hit enter. Now let us understand how this appears. Let's use a message box or a log message, anything you like. And here let us print the first name. And let me run this. So understanding each of these activities is important. So that's why I'm spending time to explain you. Now let's look at it. So it has pulled a first name, Derek. Okay, so if you run it again, you might get some other name. So you can see there's a different name now, Albertine. So different names are coming. So same thing, you understood how it works. Now let us do one thing. Let's pull the other activity, last name. Okay, I pulled the other activity, last name, and here let us create a variable. Enter. So you got both the combination. Now how will you create an email address out of it? Pretty simple. Let's use assign activity. And here I'll be using the variable as loan email. Copy this. Paste it. Done. Now how do you create? So there could be multiple different way we can do it. This is not the only way. So what I will do it here is I will use the first name variable. Okay. And then after that I have to use a dot. So I'll use a concatenation of a dot and then use a plus sign and use last name. And then I'll use again a plus sign. And here I will concatenate as @ test 1567 something like that. Okay, .com. So this becomes a synthetic email address, self-generated or random generated email address. So this is the format I want. Now if I hit on save, the format is ready. Now let's see what is wrong. Okay, now if you want to print it, for example, let me print this email. Okay, log message. And let me type email and let us run this. Okay, so you can see how your email got generated. milkroast.show@test156.com. So something like that, you can create a email address. So what we have got, the very first requirement is email address we have got. Now let's focus on our second requirement of data. I will show you how do you finally get a Excel report. Okay, at the end you will get an Excel file. So the Excel file would okay, I don't have that Excel file, but I'll show you how can you finally generate an Excel file. Now let's focus on the loan amount. Now how do I create a loan amount? For that it's quite easy. Let me delete so yeah, let it be there. So the next activity that I will be using is random number, random string, random number. A lot of options are there, so I'll be using random number. Now here what I want, the loan amount should be somewhere around 5,000 to 100,000. How do I create it? So here in the minimum I will say 5,000 and in the maximum I will say 100,000. Done. 100,000. Now here create a variable. What is the variable you want to keep? Loan amount. Okay, so we got the loan amount. Now the next thing is loan term. Now here is a challenge because I have to only create these numbers 1, 3, 5, 10 because that is what is available on our UiPath bank. So here I can only select 1, 3, 5, 10. These are the only 4 random numbers I should be able to generate. So what is the technique for that? How will you really generate it? Okay, for this, let's first of all, I'll show you the technique how we can do it. First of all, let us create a variable. Hope you have got the technique. If you got it, please do comment. Are you able to get the technique? Okay, so in this one, let me first create a variable called num array. Okay, now in the array, let me select array of integers and let me define these numbers. What are these numbers? 1, 3, 5, 10. These are the 4 different numbers. Now this has to be randomly selected. Now for that, what is the activity we can do? First, let's test it how it works. So what I will do, I'll use a message box. Okay. Now to pull any specific number from an array, what you do, you simply take the name of the array and within the parenthesis you write some number. For example, if I'm going to write 0 and if I'm going to run this activity, what is the output we will get? The very first element in the array, which is 1 here. So let me continue. Okay, so because I have written 0, what happened? The output I got 1. Now let's say I'm going to write how many elements? 4 elements are there. Let me, if I'm writing, let's say 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So it should pull me the last, very last element, which is 10. Okay, so you can see it has pulled 10. So this is how the indexing will work: 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So what I will do, instead of writing this hard-coded value 3, I will use the random function. For example, I'm going to say new random, very useful technique, and then I'm going to say dot next. Okay, and here I'm going to pass the starting index, which is 0, and the last index, which is 4. So num array, and within the bracket I am simply writing a random function which is always going to select anything between 0 to 4. So it could be 0, it could be 1, it could be 2, sorry, 0 to 3 we have to say, right, not 4, or it could be 3. Now whatever the values, let's say it is picking 0, that means num array 0, which will come 1. Let's say it is picking 1, that means the value will come 3 as per the array. If it is picking 2, that means the value will come as 5. If it is picking 3 as an index number, then the value will come as 10. So this is the technique. Pretty nice technique to use it. For example, let me save it. Let us run it. Run from this activity and simply continue. Okay. So you can see it has picked 3. So n number of times you run, it is always going to show you numbers between 1, 3, 5, 10. Okay. So this is the technique that you have learned. Now what I will do, I'll copy this. And let me delete the message box activity here. And let us use a assign activity. And let us copy paste this code. Simple. Hit on save. Now here, what is the variable we should use? Loan term. So loan term will get some values between these numbers. Great. Okay, so loan term is a string. So what you can do is you can create a .toString, let's say. Okay. Loan term, loan email. Why it did not come? Okay, I did not create as a variable, is it? Delete, create variable, control V, hit enter. Okay, so now we have got the loan term. Now what is the next thing? Loan income. So loan income is pretty much the same thing, random number activity we will use. And here for the loan income, the minimum, let's say we have set it to 10,000. 10,000. You can set your own values, doesn't matter. Now this one is 60,000 loan income. And here you should replace this with loan. What is that? What is the term? Loan income, right? Okay. Loan income. hit enter. Okay, so we have got the loan income now. What is the last one? Age. Age is again pretty much the same thing. Control V, and age 10 and 100 we have kept. 10, 100, and here I will use something called age. Hit enter. Okay, so we have created all the variables now. First name, last name, we created an email out of this, loan email, loan amount, num array for that loan term, okay, and then loan income we have got, and then we have got the age. Now these are all in decimal, and what is that? Loan term also we can keep it as integer, right? Why to make it integer? And in the loan term, remove that dot to string. Save. Okay, so we have created all the different variables of different type, and we got it. Okay, so we got all we need. Now how do I create an Excel out of it? Now for that simple technique, we'll use, let's say, while loop, and in the while loop let us create a variable, a counter variable. Let's say I need 100, 500 data, 50 data, whatever it is. So I'll create a variable and name it as counter. Hit enter, and this counter variable that got created, this counter variable I will keep it as integer, and I will say unless it is, until the counter is less than 50, you continue the loop. And all the activities that you have created, right? 1, 2, 3, control hold and select all of them. Okay, so I've selected all the activities. Now we are going to put it inside this. Simple. So in the while activity, we got all the activities. So this is going to generate and store it in the variable. Now, how do you write it to an Excel file? For that, let's use a build data table activity. Data table and the columns that you have created. So let me remove all these columns and let us create these columns here. The first is loan email. So I'll click on the plus sign, hit on loan email. All I'm creating string. Later we will change them while we are storing the data. What is the next item? Loan amount. Let me copy this. Hit on the plus sign. Loan amount. Okay. What is the next thing? Loan term. Copy this. Plus sign. Loan term. Okay. What is the next thing? Loan income. Loan income. Done. And then age. So let's copy this and write the age. So what happened? Our data table of string values have been created. What I will do here, let us create a variable called dt. Hit enter. All right. Now how do I add it? So this is outside of the while loop. So how do I add this dt values inside the data table? Okay. So how do I add? So here what we will do, there are two things remaining. One is the assign activity for you to increase the counter value. So assign activity, and here I will say counter plus 1, counter plus 1. So the initial value of the counter you can probably give 0. Okay, so the counter initial value is, where is the counter? Yeah, here. So initial value is, for the counter I will say 0. Okay. All right, so we have created all the activities. Now the only thing we need is adding to data table. For that, add data row activity. Let us use it. And here let us write all the variables. So what are the variables we have got? The first one is loan email. All you can do, use the curly braces. The first one is loan email. Let's select that, comma. Next one is loan, control space, loan amount, right? What was the next one? Loan amount, yeah. So loan amount, loan term. So loan, control space, amount, okay, comma, loan, control space, loan term, comma, loan, loan amount, loan term, control space, loan income, right? And the final one is age. Okay, so we have got all the variables 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. We got it. Okay, so we have created all these variables. Now there is an error. Now tell me why this error is coming. Why this error is coming? Because some of your variables, because these are coming as a string. Okay, some of your variables are decimal. Do you see? The loan amount is a decimal, loan income is a decimal, age is a decimal, right? Count this one. Yeah, that's all. These are the decimal values. So for that, what you do, go here and simply convert all this to dot to string and loan term dot to string, loan income dot to string. Okay, so we have created all of them, and the age dot to string. Okay, so now the error has gone once you have converted all the data points. Now let us use the data table where we will be inserting the data one by one. Okay, so once it is inserting, you wanted to write it. For that, outside of the while loop, use the Excel process scope, and here let us use Excel file. Let us select some blank file or whatever file you have. Let me select one of the file from my documents. Automate with Rakesh. This is the file I'll select. And then here let us use a write range. Okay, write data table to Excel. What to write? You want to write the DT. And what is the destination? You can click on this Excel. Let's say you want to write in the sheet 9, whatever it is. Okay, so you have written it, and then destination, exclude headers, ignore. So by default it will include headers. So all fine. So now let us run it and see if the file is getting any data or not. So let me simply run this. So you have learned a lot of techniques. Okay, it will be pretty useful when you have to create or generate synthetic data. Okay, so the loop is running. You have written a, okay, you can see the file has been updated. Now let me go back, go to documents, open the file, go to the sheet 9. Yeah, sheet 9 is here. So you can see loan email. Okay, there is a blank space came because I think the bill data table, right? I think I had this extra space. Okay, I should have omitted this. Okay, anyways, so you got to know, see, it has created so many random emails. Okay, some test emails it has created. Then it has created a loan amount. Look at it. Okay, it has created some loan amounts, different loan amounts within our range. Okay, all right. Now it has requested for loan term. Some the values are always between 1 3 5 and 10, right? So it has selected whatever the random values it has, the system has generated, but it is always between 1 3 5 and 10. Loan income, the current income of the person, and then age. So age, as per the range, it has created the age. Okay, 42 90 16 16 72 51, like that it has created different range. Okay, so this is how you can build a synthetic data for test data for your application. So based on your need, you can do it. So thank you guys. Hope this video entirely have shown you one by one creating it, so you should be able to use it. Thank you guys. Please do let me know in the video if this video was helpful for you or not. Please do comment and let me know. And anyone who watched till the end, I want to know them that you have watched this video till the end. I would like to see that comment. Thank you guys for all your support and contributions. Let's move on to our next topic.